Good evening, witches. Welcome to week 9 of the Beginner Witch series. We'll get started in just a moment.
Holidays.
You know, this is a big one. So we're starting Pre-Spell Work 1, but really for the next 4 weeks, or rather tonight and the next 3 weeks, we're going to talk about spell work. And it's this massive conversation. And there's so much that as new witches we're exposed to when it comes to spells. You can find spells anywhere. We have reference books. We brought some of our, we have stacks. Jamie does. She's been doing this for 25 years. I've been doing this for almost 3 years. I love books. She loves books. So, you know, we're always buying books, and I love books as a resource. And there's lots, always spells. You can find spells anywhere, but you know, do you do them? If you're somebody who's bought reference books or that have spell work in them, have you done them? That's one question to ask yourself. Or do you just look at them and go like, well, that sounds really nice for a love spell. Why haven't I done it yet?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Oh, it's like that funny thing they say about girls shopping. When like girls going shopping, it's just like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's cute. But then like, what do they actually try on or get it or whatever? Somebody had told me that thing. It's like, that's true. We do that a lot when we shop.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, look at this.
So I might be feeling, I don't know, the weight of the series. I'm so glad to have my much more experienced daughter here as my partner at Seven Green Sisters.
Yes.
We started this
Co-everything.
So for those of you who are just joining, I'm Kat. This is Jamie. We're Seven Green Sisters, and we started this meetup in November 2020. And today we have, I don't know,
I forget.
we're pushing 1,100. We just looked it up. 1,085 members. And for the meetup group, I started this particular meetup as a result of reading this series. As a result of a book that I read when I first started called Solitary Witches Green Guide. I think that's Green Book. Yeah. And because it took the new witch step by step, day by day, you built on the author that wrote the book. You built on your, it was like building blocks to get to where you were going to do spells and have all this understanding. And I thought it would really make a cool series. So that's what I started this series with. That's how I developed it. But when we got to spell work, I admit I don't have a lot of experience with this. So we have Jamie here. She's going to do a lot of the talking tonight, but we have planned this all out, the two of us together for the next 4 weeks, and hope all of you will be here because there will be a lot of really good information that will help you get to the point where you're writing your own spells. That's really the goal. You will want to have something to write with tonight. I know most meetings I tell you, don't worry about taking notes because I write the lesson plan and put it in the Google Drive, which is the link is in our meetup. But this week, there's not really a lesson. There's going to be some questions. There'll be a reflection sheet. So this week will be slightly different. So there are going to be questions that we're going to ask you to think about and answer for yourself. And those answers are going to be unique to you and your situation.
Yes.
So let's see. So I told you that you need something to write with. So I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes and make sure you grab something. It's not going to be a lot of writing, but we're going to pose a question and give you some minutes to just jot down whatever comes to your mind when we ask those questions or when Jamie asks those questions. Okay.
This is helpful because when 4 weeks from now, when you are writing your own spells, this is the same thing you're going to do when you think of something that you want to build or make or want to bring into your life. Now you're going to name associations and you're going to ask yourself these same questions so that you can feel comfortable and build your confidence in doing that. So these questions help you get to the root of what you want to bring in so that you can put together a spell that's suitable for you. And everybody on this call should have a completely different spell. Kat and I would never create the same spell if we were writing our own compared to following a book. And so tonight with pre-spell work, we're going to go over what it looks like to have a book, try to follow a spell out of it, and then sort of see where it's lacking. And we're definitely going to open up the floor for questions, probably 30 minutes into this, so people can start asking questions to clarify, or things that you've read that you're like, yeah, I was going to do this spell, but I still feel uncertain. So we're going to try to work through that uncertainty or your, I hate to say lack of confidence, because confidence is only built through experience. So it's just the lack of action. So we'll call it that. That sounds way less insulting than a lack of confidence or lack of experience. It's just lack of action right now, because anybody can do this. Take the action.
So one of the things we want you guys to do right now, for anybody who's comfortable with that, is we want you to think of a spell, a type of spell, like a love spell, it's a spell topic that you would like to do, that you have in mind. I'd like to do a love spell or career, whatever it is, and put it in the chat. And we're going to look through those, and we're going to pick one of those topics, and then we're going to dissect it. We're going to find that we've got a book of spells. This is a really great book.
Good resource book.
A good resource book.
Yeah.
And we're going to pick that topic, and then we're going to go through a spell and talk about what the book doesn't say. Yeah, there you go. So for anyone who would like to, so I see protection. So if you guys could give us some topics, that's a big one. Health and healing, I see that.
So career and life purpose.
Okay.
You're gonna write some down?
Yeah, go ahead.
So protection.
Okay.
Blessings. The career and life purpose. Health and healing. Then clarity. So that would be like, should I or shouldn't I? Money spells. Woo woo. New job. Okay. So Joellen's the life coach thing is like, I'd like to create a spell and add it to client coaching practices, business development. That would be harder. That would definitely be more unique to the client's needs. So we'll tell you about that in Spell Work 2. We're going to be going over that exact question, that you realize you're bringing in the needs and wants of something so that you can create it. You'll get good information in this one too, but that is actually like our next week's topic. And then it's career change or new job.
We have a lot of career.
Love and money, career, manifesting business success. Yes. Protection. You guys, of all the spells that I've done, I mostly do protection spells, because without feeling safe, it's really hard to work on any other part of yourself. And that's for people I know or for my own well-being. Banishing, love spell. Love spell.
I'm surprised love wasn't more at the top. I'm glad everybody has the love they want. That's awesome. I would have been.
Well, they might be focused on something else first. They're like, let me get good in my career and then feel successful. So when you come into a relationship, you feel equal. We have this whole thing about equality.
Oh yeah. We're Libra moons, both of us. So
always try to make stuff equal.
Yeah.
So health and healing, business, great. Okay, prosperity. So that was good. We got a lot. You guys went over almost every type of spell. I love that. Yeah. So now I feel like I should make some 10-minute YouTube channel or YouTube videos going over each one.
Okay.
All
well, I think do you want to start with it and I'll find the spell? I'm thinking, because we have so many on the career path, is what I was thinking career, because there was a lot of, there seemed to be an abundance of career. So, and not that all of your spell, we just wanted your ideas so we could pick one. So I don't know if you want to pick something different.
No.
Or do you want to do protection? Because I think protection was up there too.
Protection is definitely up there.
You want to do protection then? Pick.
No, you have the book. They're trying to push your responsibility off onto me. I'm speaking.
All right. You go ahead and get started, and I will look in the book for which spell we're going to do.
All right. Well, I don't know if she put this in the meetup already, but to show you guys the book that we're talking about, this is a resource book. It is really helpful. It's it's the spell book for new witches. The girl's name is Ambrosia Hawthorne. I don't know her, not endorsing anything, but as far as her writing style and just getting very to the point about things, I think she does a good job. Now it says for new witches, which is my only, like, I don't want to say problem with it. That sounds wrong, but there's so much in here that's accessible as information and instructions, but there's nothing on intuition and how to make yourself feel comfortable doing this, or how to like bring in this level of security while you do a spell. A spell is not just like adding, 3 tablespoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of.
It's not like a recipe.
It's not like a recipe. It is like a recipe, but it's not like following a recipe offline.
Okay, so what comes to my mind, when we were talking about this yesterday, and we have 2 analogies for you, so you can put these.
Sex. So.
Hers is sex, mine's food. What a surprise! All right, so if you think of
wait, because that just made me sound like a hoe or something. I'm not really sure how to take that. Okay?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm the plumper of the 2. I like my cake and too. But anyway, when we were talking about this yesterday, I was like, it's like, because I've done spells, not very many, but still, when I get to the part with the words, that's where I struggle the most with. Like, I can pull all the things together, but then I'm like, what do I say exactly? It doesn't have to rhyme. How long is it supposed to be? I don't know. I don't know. This is what I sit there and think. I don't know what to say. And so what I got to thinking about was, it's kind of like my grandmother made the best. She was a Southern woman, collard greens and biscuits. Oh my gosh. And every time she did, she must have made them for all of her life. And I didn't see her. I knew her when I was a teenager, and she was 80 something. And so she could just whip that stuff out. And, she could have I wish she'd given me the recipe, but it would have taken me a long time to make those the way that she made them, and make the way that they tasted, and how, the biscuits were just so wonderful. Because, when you're making a recipe, which is similar when you're looking at a spell in a book and you're copying what it says to do. Here we go. 1 tablespoon cinnamon, 1 tablespoon sea salt. I'm not lying to you. I'm reading this as a motivation spell bottle. You're doing this, you're reading it, but where is the intuitive part of it that comes into that? It isn't there. So you're just reading it. That's what Jamie's going to talk about,
yes.
The feeling that needs to go into
the
it.
Energy behind
the
it.
energy behind it.
Yes.
So, all right.
So
her analogy.
Now I'm put on the spot and feel like I shouldn't talk about sex. But what I think about,
anybody with delicate ears might want to,
I'm not going to say any bad words. That comes later at the end of the meeting. I only cuss towards the end and during Q&A when I'm not being recorded. Okay, so the reason that I can relate it more to a sexual relationship with a partner, because in the beginning, like if sex is new or you guys haven't slept together that much, you're really concentrated on like, oh my gosh, the lights are on, or I'm not wearing the right thing, or did we shower? I don't know. I'm literally pulling these out of thin air. What people might think about before they're about to have sex or do foreplay or anything, like there's you don't really call it courtship, but I call it just the foreplay before sex. All that buildup and all that anxious energy and like nervousness and like, am I doing this right? Or, does he or she like to be kissed like this? Or should I pull their hair? Whatever it is. So there's all these things that are going through your mind, and your energy level is like scattered all over the place. And you're just trying to be like, I know it goes in the hole, and that's all I got to concentrate on. Okay. But that's not the point of the spell, is to like complete it. That's not the goal. The goal is to raise your energy. So when you're really comfortable with a sex partner, you've been with somebody a long time, like you could foreplay for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. It just depends on what you're doing or who you are, or whatever, all of the things that go in between that sentence. So when you're able to feel it out through energy because you know something well enough, because you've built that confidence, then it is more like a successful foreplay and then sex or courtship or however you might see that. So I think about it with sex, because unlike cooking for me or recipes, they're not emotional. I'm not really putting a ton of emotion into my cooking unless I'm doing spell work in the kitchen, and then that's just kitchen witching. But it's the same thing. You have to be so aware of each move that you're doing, and you're maybe saying a mantra with it, or you're leading yourself through something. And it's supposed to be intuitive. It's supposed to feel like your natural words, which is something that we're going to talk about. Is when you create your own spell, it should be your words, like things you would normally say. And if that includes cussing, song lyrics, poems, like we listed a bunch of stuff for that meetup, then that's what it is. There's no right or wrong way to do the spell. our only rule is that the only like rule is don't hurt yourself, don't hurt other people. Other than that, it's, you know, free world. So I think Kat found one maybe.
Well, I have a confidence charm it
Satchel.
says sachet, but okay.
Satchel,
So I've got a
sachet,
confidence
bag.
for underworking career. I've got a confidence charm satchel or an opportunity charm poppet or poppet charm. So I'm thinking one of those because they would be, what do you think?
Yeah, we're just
Do
gonna
you
go
like-
through one and maybe we can
we're-
go through a couple, but
Okay, so on they start at 100. They start
Okay.
on page 100.
at 100.
Yeah.
All right, so again, this is a book that is meant for new witches, and she has a couple of chapters about like, it's a very brief writing on like, oh, here's what being a witch means to me, here's how I do things, yada yada, introduction, boom, spells. So there's not a lot to go off of if this is one of your first spell books as far as for working with energy and like how you should be feeling or visualizing. So if we were to read, and I don't want to be too monotonous with this, but on page 102, in case anybody has this book.
I see Joan. Joan, are you in this book?
Yeah,
she
okay.
is. Okay.
So a confidence charm sachet, which a sachet, I call them satchels, and I know that's like another name for a purse, but it's the same thing. It's just a little bag that you make. And you can make it in lots of different ways by folding up a handkerchief or buying a little bag like I do that are really thin. So all the ingredients, you can like smell them and see them through it. But here's the instructions, and we're going to talk about what's lacking. This charm sachet will help you attract self-confidence when you're doubting yourself. The crystals and herbs used in this spell have properties associated with building self-confidence. So that's great. And that's her introduction. That's it.
Okay, and this is under work and career.
Work and
so
career.
I'm like, okay.
So it's, you know, confidence with work and career. I don't know. So I'm not going to
interviewing. What are we talking about
Yeah,
here? I don't know.
It's not that I want to pick apart her book by any means, because
Sachet. Thank you.
love it.
Thank you, Linda. I knew it's French, right? Just like you're going to Paris and you're like, they don't pronounce it.
Oh yeah,
They don't pronounce
the T.
They don't pronounce the consonant
Consonants
at
at
the
the
end.
end of words. They don't pronounce.
Okay.
But I say sachet because I am American. So
Not
I
when you go
don't
to
know. I
French.
may have to change it now. But little baggie, okay, my magic little baggie. That's what I call it. It does say when to perform this. So right away, you're getting structure and information of like, there is a wrong way and there is a right way to do this. So that is confusing for new witches, because if you want to do this spell, you're like, well, shit. Oh, well, this says Tuesday or Thursday and today's Wednesday. So now I can't do this spell. I'm all ready and I'm not. So there's that.
Or Sunday and during a waxing moon or a new moon.
Right. Which
So there you're like confined to 4 days of the month.
which
What
can
if you
be
need confidence today?
right now. Dang it.
Yeah.
So that's probably the first thing. Anything that you read, there are opportune times to do magic that are in energies aligned with your spell. Great. We all know that there's like millions of correspondence charts to days, colors, months, time of the day, all of that. And you can go through correspondence charts and figure all that out if you really want to. But the best time to do your magic or a spell or bring something into your life is when you're really feeling it. Like you come home from work and you're like, F this job, I'm getting a job and I'm doing this spell tonight, and you are super amped up over it. You're at high energy level right then, and you shouldn't be like angry about it, but definitely a high energy.
You're motivated. You're
that
highly
is-
motivated
yeah.
at that point.
That
Yeah.
energy is powerful. That's more powerful than waiting until the waxing moon or something. Like that is going to be what feeds your spell really well. And we're gonna talk about that word, feed your spell. Next, it does give a time, which I think is pretty cute, to allot for 20 minutes to do this. I think that's really neat that she sums it up into a time. Again, that just puts somebody in a box thinking like, okay, well, I should have this done in 20 minutes, or I need to do this within this certain amount of time. Getting ready for a spell, which in Spellwork 3, we're going to go over rituals, which is pre-work, which is the stuff that you do before your spell to get yourself ready. But if you only have 20 minutes, again, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Is that just like completing the spell in 20 minutes, or get all your stuff together really quick and then like do it and then be like, boom, done? again,
It does seem like such a short amount of time. We spent an hour on what was the spell that I did for psychic intuition?
Yeah.
And then I did a love spell.
And
I
a
know
love
we
spell.
spent more time
Yeah,
than
of
that.
course we did, because you got to dig in your feels.
Yeah.
So again, the purpose is not just to get it in the hole. That's the whole thing.
Or get the pie in the oven. Hurry up and get the pie in the oven.
Whichever one you agree with.
Yeah, relate to.
Where to perform it on your altar. Okay, I do get why she says this, because performing a spell should be in a place where you feel very comfortable, where you can be yourself in that space. I have to be dressed a certain way. If I have tight clothes or something poking me, or like my bra's too tight, or I'm wearing shoes, I can't handle any of that. So my dress and what I'm wearing is way more important to me when I'm doing a spell, so that I'm very comfortable and nothing is distracting me, because it's really about the distraction. So if you do it at your altar is already supposed to be this sort of sacred place that's clean and kept up, and maybe all your stuff is there. But a spell can be done anywhere where you're comfortable, where you have the time and space and no distractions. That's what I would tell you. And it lists a bunch of ingredients, which is great, because ingredients are anything that you really want them to be that you're connected with. But she does list stuff that's already in the correspondence charts to go with this specific spell.
Can I read them? I just want to.
You do? Okay.
I want to read them. Okay, so here's the ingredients and the tools for the spell: mortar and pestle or grinder, 1 tablespoon dried thyme, 1 tablespoon dried yarrow flowers, 8-inch square orange cloth, hematite stone, garnet crystal, orange string. What if you don't have exactly those ingredients? What do you do? Can you not do the spell? Do you find substitutes?
I think that for her, she's probably thinking that you've planned this out a day or weeks ahead, and that you've gotten all your ingredients together, which, yes, if you know you're going to do a spell at a certain time, you should have your stuff together. I'm more on a whim. I'm like, I need to do a spell for this. It's happening. And I gather my stuff. Do I have dried yarrow flowers? Nope. I have fresh thyme.
Who's got a garnet crystal? Those are kind of expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in jewelry. I mean, you don't usually have them laying around. They can be inside other stones. So the orange cloth and the orange string, I'm like, I don't even have orange in my house at all. Orange. So of that for me, okay, so I am not a new age. I've been practicing 25 years, and I have things around me that I'm very comfortable with. So if you were building over her book, that would be the other thing that would be very hard, is every single spell has tons of different ingredients. This is where you get overwhelmed thinking, I need an entire cabinet full of stuff just to perform all these spells. And you just don't. So the correspondence tables are great if you know what you have. Otherwise, make it fit. I'm also going to tell you guys something that most people don't ever say, and this will be in Spell Work 4, but when you are really comfortable with pulling in the stuff that you want in your life, aka manifesting, using the law of attraction just through thought alone, you don't need a single thing to do a spell. You can sit somewhere, imagine everything coming to you, imagine the end playing out, and as long as you feed that, as long as you revisit that vision every single day, that's as powerful as a spell. As powerful. We like to have all the organization of the ingredients because it's something that you'll touch and see, and that's how you'll feed your spell. She'll be like, yep, there's my charm bag. I have nothing to grab as my charm bag. Be like, oh yeah, here's my spell in here. That's right. All right, give it 3 good minutes of yes, please. I'm ready for you. I invite this into my life. I will release the things I need to in order to get this, and then you move on about your day because it sits on your altar or you carry it with you. But that's why we leave physical remnants for a spell, like a jar or whatever, all of the little things that we create. And it's really fun. I mean, who doesn't want to carry around little bottles of stuff? I don't know.
Let's face it, I do like collecting all the stuff.
All the stuff. Love it. Okay, so, and she has 6 steps to completing this spell. And you guys can type in the chat after I read these 6 steps if it sounds super easy, but also I feel like I couldn't do this tomorrow. Step 1, cleanse your altar. Step 2, use the mortar and pestle to grind or lightly crush the thyme and yarrow flowers to release their aromas. Perfect. So this would be a time where she could say, you're going to want to like come together with these scents, with these smells. Imagine that they hold that energy that you're looking to pull in. You know, I don't know exactly what yarrow flower's energy correspondence is. With time, that's literally time. You can reference that as like making more time for something, bringing time in for things, clearing something out. So it would be helpful if there was an explanation for why you're collecting these things and then bringing them alive in your own mind as you start working through the ingredients. The third one is add crushed mixture to the orange cloth. So I don't think you're adding it to the cloth. I think you're dumping it on top of the cloth, and focus your intention to build self-confidence. If somebody was to just say to you, like, focus your attention to build self-confidence, what does that look like? I'm going to need a little bit more here from like, what is that? What do I do? So again, just a place where this is lacking, and the 1, 2, 3 steps of it are easy, but you should be seeing yourself in a confident place, in a confident position, and, you know, seeing the thing that you want that looks like confidence for you. And that could even be with sex, just bringing that back around. What about being confident in a physical relationship because you've had trauma in your life? Like, you've spent 5 years alone because your last relationship was so damaging that now that's the confidence that you need to bring back in. How do you work through that? All right. Charge the hematite and garnet stones, add them to the cloth and say, all right, so she just says charge them. There's nothing else about that. If you guys, I can see a few pictures, but raising your hand, if somebody was like, just charge your stones for a minute. All right, do you know what that means? Like, can you envision it a little bit? When I think of charging my stones, I think about putting them underneath the moonlight or in the sun, like next to water. So I think what she meant to say was, you charge an item, you give it a job by focusing your energy and attention, and you're pushing it towards that item and saying, like, this thing now represents, you know, success and confidence for me. And that's what you do. You focus that energy, and it's literally, you're filling that space with the success, the image in your head of success and confidence for that.
So if you haven't figured it out so far, there's a lot of mind work going on here. It's a lot of
That's
your
where
mind is, and it's coming from in here too,
It's
from
coming
your
from your
heart.
heart,
It's coming
yes.
from your heart, but it's
Pulling it
also, it's
through.
you're pulling it through. It's like, in my heart, I really want this really bad, and I'm going to think really hard. And that's what you're really doing. And this isn't clear that that's
not
what you're
clear.
going to, for new witches, like, if I just did those steps and then I couldn't get what I wanted, I'd be like, well, that spell didn't work.
Well, it's tough because she's not asking you to really put your own energy or your thoughts into it about what you're looking for. And just as a reminder, like, all spells are forms of law of attraction, right? So what we think about, we bring about, and they're manifestations. Like, what you go through your day saying to yourself, you're bringing into your life. That's a boomerang coming right back at you. So doing a spell and having no energy work into it seems like a wishful thinking sort of thing. Like, it makes a really pretty altar decor, maybe. To make things, I hate to use the word powerful, to make them more energized, all right? To energize something, to put your energy into it and make it more active, because energy is always flowing through us, between us, around us, everywhere. Focus that energy on that thing. And then throughout the day, when you're thinking about it, this is what feeding your spell means. And I think I might be the only person that says feed your spell. And I just think of that because I feel like I'm feeding it energy, like I feed my cats, you know, like, oh, I got to pay attention to you guys. I love you. I love you. Here's some food. Here's a couple treats. Don't puke on anything. So it's sort of a feeding mechanism for me because I'm giving it something of myself, energy that I've created, my internal energy, and like that's going towards the spell. And then throughout the day, I think about, I've done this spell and I know what I want to happen. So I just always picture the end result. I don't try to think too much about the steps in between or focus on controlling how I'm supposed to get the thing. I'm just like, this is coming to me. The universe is going to provide this for me. Like, I've asked for it. It's going to happen. Done.
Okay.
All right. I got a little off topic with that. Step 5. So we're at step 5. Close the cloth and tie it with the string and seal your intentions inside. So I'm sure that orange is the color of success. I'm not sure. The color orange is for success, which is why she chose that color. So having that little orange reminder, it's also the color of like energy and your second chakra. So it's where creativity and things are born. So I see why the orange is really there. Like symbols, actual oranges, you guys, if you ever want like a quick success thing, keep oranges around you. They're a universal sign of success and not just success, but like, what's another word for success?
Abundance,
Abundance.
prosperity.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, got it. I'm so glad she can read my mind. Last step 6, your sachet is charged with your intentions. Carry it with you. Yeah, I missed the part where she said charge it with your intentions. But that's just part of the thing that's missing when we talk about spell work, is that a lot of it goes on inside your head. And oh, I didn't say the thing she says. Here's the other part with like spell books that you get, right? Every spell book is going to give you words to say. A little.
Did you skip 4? Is that what you did? She missed a step. We're backing up.
No, but I skipped the thing that people say.
Well,
that she
did
wrote
you
to
ask
say.
the stones in there?
Yeah, I said,
okay.
Well, that was like charge them. What does that mean?
Oh,
She says
charge
charge
them and
them.
add them to the cloth and
Yeah.
say.
So now we're saying, so the spell words for this that she wrote for us, thank you, because it's helpful to have a starting point. That's not a bad thing. That's why I say reference book, not necessarily an instruction book. Follow step 1 through 7 and you will be done. Her words she wrote was, with each stone, I craft and create a thriving, self-confident state. I love that it's short. That's something I give her a lot of credit for. Some people write like 10 lines. I was like, how am I ever going to remember that when I'm trying to get in my feelings? Those are your words, not mine. But so with her creating the beginning of that, you can at least change it to something that feels more like comfortable language to you. So an example I'll give you that I've done with spells when I've referenced stuff, especially when I've done them for other people, and I'm like, I can't really feel all of their feelings. So with the words, I'm like, okay, imagine what that is. And I start like saying stuff out loud until things come together and start rhyming. I was like, oh, okay, I got a flow now. So like lyrically, it'll just start coming together. And I've said this before on other meetups, which is really funny. A little tip is that if you have song rhymes that are really like stuck in your head, like pretty woman walking down the street, pretty, like anything, you can use that same beat and tone to create words to that. It's like the easiest way. If you wanted to create a lyrical rhyming spell thing, like any song that you have out there that has the beat to it that you could really repeat to yourself over and over again, boom, that is energy. Because like singing and repeating, that's a mantra. Literally singing is a mantra to bring in energy. So that's a little hint tip of things that I will do to, if I have a longer thing, I make it rhyme with a song I already know. I've definitely used happy birthday before. And I'm a little teapot because, you know, I used to be like 18 and that was all I could come up with for really short rhymes. I didn't try real songs because I was afraid I'd mix up the words. But okay, so that is a success one. And all right, so I was saying like, sounds easy to do, but like, I don't think I could do this tomorrow. It doesn't feel, sounds easy, maybe doesn't feel easy. If anybody agrees with that. Like, oh, follow step 1 through 6, done. But how much were you able to give to that? Okay, I went through that.
All right, so
yeah.
Are you going to go through another one?
I can. It's 8:05, so we have like 25 minutes. Oh, well, questions and stuff.
Questions, yeah.
Sorry.
So I think so I'm just going to circle back really quick.
Yeah.
Because I thought Jamie might read through the spell and then talk about it, but she can't help herself. So she starts talking and then she goes off. So, and I love that about her.
This is why we're doing a reflection sheet, and you don't know what's going to come out.
But just to make the purpose of us going through that was to show you where, you know, you have a recipe. This is just like your in a recipe. This is basically what this is. It's
right.
Instructions.
It's instructions.
But where there is a lack of information for a new witch and a lack of, you know, how do you get into your cleansing your altar? So what does that mean? Are you supposed to dust it, spray it? What is, okay. Does everybody know what cleansing your altar is? if you're a brand new witch. I don't know.
Or do you go to the extreme where you're like, well, hell, I got to put everything out under the moonlight and that needs to be a full moon. And now I'm waiting like a month and a half to do this spell. Like, think about how,
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
Cleansing your altar. She also doesn't talk about anything about preparing you, or it's more like, I feel like what's lacking there is preparing your space. But anyway, cleansing your altar was one place I feel like there's a little more instruction needed for new witches, because that's what this book is about.
Yeah.
This is for new witches. Let's see. Mortal and pestle. I mean, I don't have that. I've been doing this 3 years. I would love one, but I can't find one anywhere.
You know what? I have one. I don't use it. I crush it in my hand. It's not that big of a deal.
And I have time, but I don't even know what yarrow is or where to find it. So that's not, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it says yarrow flower. Never mind.
I mean, I know it's a flower,
Yeah.
but like, that's not, when we did, ingredients a few weeks back, we talked about all the things that are easily accessible right in your kitchen.
Yeah.
So you're not running out to buy things and using spells. So what do you do there if you don't have things?
Right.
Then there's the charging part. So there's cleansing, charging,
having hematite and garnet.
and having those sort of more not common stones, because we also had a class on what's your starter set as a new witch. What's a good starter set for you? We talked about that. And neither of those, I don't think, are in there. We're on that list. Definitely not garnet, because I never see that anywhere I go.
It's a red stone that goes in jewelry mostly. You don't see it raw.
You don't see it when you go look for crystals anywhere. And then, saying that your sachet is charged with your intentions and now carried around with you. I don't know. I feel like that's a bit of a stretch for me anyway. Reading this, that's how I would feel. So I wanted to circle back to, why would I think that that's stretched? Because I follow these, or are rather charged with my intentions, because I follow these instructions. I didn't say a whole lot. She didn't tell me to think about anything. So that's the kind of stuff that's missing. Again, not to slam the author for sure, because maybe she assumes that as a new witch, we already know that we're supposed to like think about these things. We're supposed to get into a mind. When you're doing a spell, you need to get into a frame of mind. Yeah. You need to be in a place where you're calm and it's quiet. And your pets are put up, and all your electronics are off. You're not wearing your Apple Watch. Your cell phone's in another room, or it's on airplane mode, and stuff like that. So those kind of things are important to know. And maybe you can't get them all in here in a nice little spell book, but that's the kind of stuff we want to share with you as we start on Pre-Spell Work 1, 2, as we do these next 4 weeks. The things you really need to know, because I feel like myself as a new witch. And Jamie hasn't been a new witch for a really long time, but I have. And I honestly, to tell you the truth, I sometimes feel very intimidated by, doing things. I'm afraid I'm going to do it wrong, or I don't understand what I'm doing. And I'm thankful that I have Jamie as a reference, and that we are able to also start sharing things like this with you and creating courses to help other people, because I just feel like it's needed.
It's needed. I mean,
so
it's needed. So I am going to go back through a couple of the comments, because you guys gave some awesome tips as we were talking through things. And to sage your altar as a cleansing form, yes, absolutely. If everything on there is not going to be harmed by water, you can use water to spray. You could light a candle. Those things activate energy in your space. It's also, cleansing is also, keeping it dusted and not having a bunch of stuff on there that distracts you, because clutter is a distraction. It pulls your focus away from the thing that you want to do. So the ringing the bell, so this is sound, smoke, water, fire, any of those things, that's all the elements. The sound is air. You can do that to clear your space. And a quick bell ring, I do bells a lot when I invite people over to do work that I haven't seen in a long time, or, I'm still getting to know them. I've had a friend for a couple of years, and I'm just really starting to read with her and sort of, take her under my wing and teach her stuff. And the singing bowls, which is what I use, same thing as a bell, but I have a high-pitched bell. And if I need to go through my house after like a party or having people over, I'm like, let's just shake all this out, because I don't know what they're dealing with, what they're bringing in. People can put on the front of like, I'm happy, everything's good. Underlying emotions stick, and the energy that they're pushing out about maybe your house or you or your cat or your dog or your husband or whatever, it's like, yeah, let's just let all that go. Let all that energy leave with them, dissipate it by ringing the bell. So I love that. Did you scroll down?
I did.
The essential oils thing, yeah, again, but that would be harder to put in a satchel because it would just make the sachet dirty and things stick to it. So you would want to do maybe a jar instead of a cloth, and put it on a piece
bottle
of paper, or and you can take this. This is why I say the book is a really good reference book. Every single one of those things could be changed out with something different, and you would still have the same effect as long as your mind, your energy that you were putting into it was the same. Did I say that right? Was the same, was as intense, was, that's the more important thing.
The power's in the witch.
The power is the witch.
The power is the witch.
Yeah.
The power is the
We are
witch.
the magic. It lives in us.
If you just think about this very simple thing, what you think about, you bring about. And that's what spell work is.
Spell work is the intentional bringing about stuff. So as we go through our day and we think about stuff that we really don't want, calling that into you a little bit. I've explained this with like my anxiety and riding in my own car, where I was going to bring myself into a really bad accident. And before I knew it, I started seeing really bad accidents right in front of me, a car in front of me. And I was like, it's getting closer. So I didn't drive for a while. Thank God COVID hit. That gave me some chance to like not drive. But then when I started driving again, you guys, I had to put a mantra in my car that every time I started to feel that anxiety, I just repeated these 4 words: love, gratitude, joy, happiness, hope. Now I forget. I don't even use it anymore because it's been a year, and I'm like, now I drive fine, and I don't have that anxiety about crashing anymore or being in a really bad accident. So
I have to tell a little story. Jamie was just out in Santa Monica, and I guess
this is a good story. Yeah.
So in Santa Monica, we're from California. I grew up there.
South.
My kids were born there, but southern San Diego area, and then Palm Springs area. But she was in Santa Monica, and I guess it's quite a.
Well, that was Hollywood.
Oh, it was Hollywood.
Yeah,
where
we stayed in Hollywood for one night. It's just kind of like see the sights.
You tell the story.
Okay.
It's your story.
Yeah. So the hard part about that is like there is homeless. The streets are really filled with like people's excrements and things, and so you're like constantly looking down. You're sort of checking traffic. The cars are not stopping during things, and I had all this anxiety while I was walking around. I kept thinking like, oh God, I hope we don't, like, nobody robs us or whatever. It's me and my husband walking around, and nobody seemed violent, angry, but they did seem, some of them were really, really high or really, really drunk, or, they were just in an altered space. Like, I don't know what's going on with them. But all I kept thinking was like, oh God, I hope something doesn't happen to us. Oh, this. And so it was like fear. Well, me knowing me and the universe, I thought I have to change this freaking mode of thinking because I'm going to bring a bad thing to us, because I'm really good with bringing about things with my energy. And so that works both ways. You think about bad stuff, it's going to happen. So I had to change it, and I couldn't. I was like, oh my gosh, what do I change? I don't want to step in poo. Okay, no, that's not right. Like, because the don't doesn't matter. It's just, I want poo would be what the universe hears. There's no negatives included. So I was like, oh, I need to change it to something that I can think about. So I had this crazy idea. I was like, I wish people were driving by throwing money at us. Why not? Like, that's not harmful, and it's pretty crazy. Probably won't happen, but not 2 hours later, you guys, we're walking past this place, and there was $10 on the ground next to this car. And I was like, ooh, $10. And so my husband picked it up, and I was like, hey, you know what? That worked. And after that, I didn't have any anxieties about it. But I had to like repeat that to myself for a while, just being in like the crowd and the people and the dirt stuff that I wasn't used to. But then I found $10. So it was great. Yeah. So that's an energy way of like, this really works when you think about something a lot, you can bring it to yourself in the craziest ways. Like I guess I did say throw it out of cars. It was $10 next to a car. Could have been thrown out of that car. But it's just putting your energy towards that thing. What you think about, you bring about. Just remember that for spell work. So that's why in 2, we're going to be figuring out the words that you can say. It's either 2 or 3, where we're going to go over your words, what feels right to you, how you can change, stuff in books or things you've heard, and finding your own language in your spells.
So here's a couple of things that we want you to reflect on tonight. Like now, as I say this to you, just whatever comes to your mind, like What do you want? And this is what you're going to write down. Just jot down whatever comes. This is what your notes were for. What is it, when you think about doing spells, what is it that you want to bring into your life? I'm just going to let you ponder that for a minute and not say anything. And that's what you're going to write down. What is it that you want to bring into your life? And another good question to ask yourself, whenever you're thinking about doing the spell, why are you doing this spell? What's your purpose? Are you looking for a spell for love? Let's just say it's love. And you say, I want more love in my life. What does that mean? Romantic love? There's all kinds of forms of love. Self-love, romantic love, pets, there's friends. So why are you doing this spell and what do you want to bring into your life? Those are the two things that I had you bring, or we had to bring a notebook for to think about, because when you think about doing a spell, those are the questions that you should ask yourself before you start gathering ingredients and looking for the spell or creating the spell. You need to know the why, the what and the why. So,
well, I'll add something to that because I know we saw all the money spell recommendations for going over spell tonight. And I love money. It's weird to say that. I know it's not something that's bad. Money is our form of having experiences and helping other people. So don't feel bad if you want money for whatever reason, unless it's to harm people or yourself. But like, money is the thing that helps us move forward in this world. So do not fear asking for money. It's not selfish. It's not arrogant.
Greedy.
It's not greedy. Like, all of our misconceptions around money.
It's just an exchange of energy.
It's an exchange of energy. And do you know what money is made out of? Plants. Money is made from plants and some plastic, unfortunately, because we need to, stop having it being reproduced by false people or whatever. But if you think about money in the form of leaves on a tree, and just that you could go out anytime and get it, and it's all over the world and it's very abundant and it's there for you. You can call in money to yourself like that. I'm open to receive money. Imagine checks coming in the mail to you that are for you. And you're like, I don't know how this happened. I have I did this spell and this was for a practice, but I did this spell of like, oh yeah, this guy's talking about checks in the mail. I was like, sure, I'd like checks in the mail that are addressed to me. Why did the state of Illinois send me a check for $214 that said, you have some kind of refund that you never claimed back when you were, 18 and in the Navy living in Great Lakes? I'm like, what? It's from some company I've never heard of, but they found me out. Like, I didn't go looking for this stuff. So that was one of the coolest things, that I didn't do anything with the check because it makes you go through a bunch of hoops to get the stuff. But I was like, whatever. I manifested it to my house. I'll just check that off as a win. I'm good. I don't want to go through the hassle of the state of Illinois and all the stuff they want me to do with it. But thinking about money in that way as an exchange of energy and bringing it into you. I know I had something else to say about that, but I forgot. I got started on my story. Okay, go. Yes.
Well, I'm just looking at the time. I was hoping we could let people and ask some questions. I don't want to cut you off, though.
No, you're not. I was just gonna be on a box again and like talk forever. Somebody has.
I have to rein her in. I have to rein her in. Yeah. Okay, so I hope that we've given you something to think about and that you mentally or jotted down some answers to those questions. We are going to circle back on this topic over the next 3 weeks. And there will be a reflection sheet that we'll upload to Google Docs. But right now, what I'd like to do is Jamie and I, for those of you who are new, this is where we close the meeting officially and turn off the camera so that you all can raise your hand and ask questions. You can be on camera and you won't be recorded and have your face on YouTube if that's not what you want. So give us 1 second. Go ahead.
I never know what to say.
All right. Thank you for joining us for week 9 of Beginner Witch series.
Pre-Spell Work 1. See you next week.